You know me, I'm a cat lady. I love cats. I love the personalities. I like the way they cut you with their sharp claws and hurt you. I really like to throw them on the bed and let them attack me. It's fun. I like all of it. You know what I don't like? I don't like that cat litter box. You know why? There's too much dust in it, and I don't like breathing in poopy, dusty things, which is why Arm & Hammer created new cloud control litter. That's right. There's no cloud of nasties when I scoop that litter. It's 100% dust-free, free of heavy perfumes. I hate heavy perfume. I'm a light perfume person. And it also helps reduce airborne dander from scooping. If you have allergies, you know, that creates phlegm. So what happens in the litter box stays in the litter box. New Cloud Control Litter by Arm & Hammer. More power to you.
Now Podcast One brings you Spike's Car Radio. A downloadable Cars and Coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast, Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
Anyway, what day it is? Friday the 13th.
I know, Friday the 13th. I've got a little experience with Friday the 13th. Mine started a little early, Zuckerman. I have not really slept.
I know, I see your eyes are googly.
I'm googly-eyed. Yeah, and blurry. You're
very tired. Why didn't you sleep? Why don't we?
You want to hear the saga?
Should we roll this?
We're rolling right now.
Okay,
I'm
good.
just going to tell you. I'll tell you what's happening. All right. So, as you know, I coach my boys' baseball team. It's fall ball, right? They don't have a lot of coaches. Now both of them are playing baseball, right? So that means I have practices at 6 o'clock twice a week. Last night and the night before, right? And that means I'm throwing batting practice. I'm not the main coach. I'm kind of the second or third tier coach, but I've done a lot of work so far. So last night, before I load up the kids in the car, right? This is a little wonky. This goes in. I'm in the backyard. The gardeners have left a pair of cutting shears, like a little hand shears. Right?
How does this go to sleeplessness? But keep going.
You'll see where this goes. Okay, right? I've got like 10 minutes, and I'm looking at some of the branches, and I'm like that. You know how when your dental hygienist does all the work, and then the dentist comes in, he does a couple little fine tunes? Oh. I'm like, I'm going to do some fine tunes, right? So I'm cutting some stuff down, some trees that bother me, some places where the leaves hit me in the head, and I've left this big pile there, and I gather them up and carry them to the green container in my backyard.
Okay.
And I feel this kind of like sting, like this cut, right? And I look down at my wrist, and I'm bleeding in two places that look like fangs, right?
You got a spider bite?
Now, I don't know if you know this about my backyard, but it's loaded with black widows and brown widows, like so much that we have to spray, right, so the kids don't die, right? And I'm not wearing gloves because I'm not an experienced gardener. But I go inside, and Jack's like, why is your wrist bleeding? Right here, right there. See it? Look, why is your wrist bleeding? And I go, I don't know, something bit me. It doesn't hurt that much. You know, in fact, I don't even know if it was a spider. It just felt like it could have been anything, right? So he goes, well, why don't we Google black widow bites? And we do. And it's literally a picture of my hand with these fang bites on it. And
that's pretty funny.
You know what it says? It says this: you will not really know that you've been bitten by a black widow. You will feel a little sensation, like a light stinging, but in the subsequent hours, you're going to start to die. Yes. You'll start to have cramps. You'll start throwing up.
So why are you here? Why are you still here?
Well, this goes to me not sleeping last night, right?
Because you thought you would die?
So
or
Jack
you were...
looks at me in the eyes, so starts getting little glassy eyes. Well, should we, he's only 11. Should we go to the emergency room? I go, Jack, look, most spider bites aren't black widows. It's one of those moments where you're like, odds are it wasn't. The black widows, I've learned a ton about these guys. They don't like to bite people. They hide a lot under furniture. They're not really up in the leaves that much. Right? So I'm like, let's roll the dice. But look, if I collapse on the baseball field, just tell them the spider bite. And we go, okay, we all get in the car and we go to the field. James, too. He's going to help out with practice, right? So now I kind of forget about it. About 30 minutes in, I'm throwing batting practice to the goofball kids who are jamming the ball back at my face. Like, you have a little screen, and these kids are just crushing it, and I'm almost, I don't even want to get into that part, right? And I look down at my hand. Here, I want to show you my hand right now. I'm going to take my watch off so you can just fully appreciate what's happening here. Look at the wrist.
Look at that Ferriston. The poison is traveling to your heart.
Okay, you see the
I see it, the big
wrist,
bruise and the swollen hand. Oh, you are dying.
So
what do I get?
I'm throwing the ball, and I'm feeling kind of lightheaded, but I also worked out in the morning, and I've been eating right, so I don't know if it's that. And I'm like, holy shit, my finger's all swollen now, and my wrist is bruised. And this is men, Zuckerman, right? I just keep going. I'm like, whatever.
Let me take a picture of this.
I'd rather just die on the baseball field because I love baseball. Here, take a picture. Can you get a picture of that?
Yes, I certainly can. Let's see where the little bites.
Right?
Let's see where the little bites are on the other side. So it's crazy how the bite's on the top of your hand and the poison is on the inside of your wrist.
What I think it's completely unrelated to what happened, right? I had to fight so much like crazy psychology.
What's the bruise from?
The other coach wanted to set up the batting machine, and I think in pulling that stupid giant metal thing out, I think I did that, helping him set up the pitching machine.
So you don't think it's the poison traveling to your heart?
I don't now, because I'm alive. But at the time, I thought it was. But you know I love baseball. And if you played baseball and you're listening, you play baseball, you know when you walk onto the field, everything's just shut out. Your troubles are just gone for the next 90 minutes, 2 hours, and you're playing the game. So I decided, you know what, if I'm going to die from black widow bite, I'm going to die in the baseball field throwing pitching practice. I kind of forget about it. And you know what? This turns out to be just a regular spider bite or snake bite or something. And I'm fine. And I get home, and I'm just tired. I'm exhausted, emotionally distraught from the whole evening. And I get myself into bed at a reasonable hour, 10:15.
Boy, this story takes longer than it actually
It's
took
unbelievable.
Place. So keep going.
Well, you have some phlegm, so I thought I'd just riff.
Keep going. I gotta get to the punchline of this.
Okay, here it is. At 10:30, the dog starts barking like crazy, going nuts, right? Everybody's asleep. The little dog is in Gopher. You know Gopher.
Of course.
Going crazy, and he never goes crazy. He's going nuts. So I have to get out of bed, turn on all the lights, and I hear a crazy coyote kill.
Oh, that sound.
going on in my front yard. And the dog is going bonkers, and no one else is awake. And I know this dog is not going to shut up until I chase the coyotes out. So last night, if you were my neighbor, at around 10:45, you would have seen me in my pajamas with a flashlight chasing coyotes with
pajamas?
a piece of cement.
You wear pajamas?
Well, I had to do that to get outside because
You're
I thought
supposed to fight naked.
Imagine, security coming by with their light, and I'm naked like your neighbor in Hollywood fighting coyotes and with cement. And they run, whatever they kill, they run into that empty lot near my house, and then I'm heaving pieces of cement. I come back, and my wife is just standing in the door, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I go, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm fighting coyotes
okay, so
now.
that
I've
took
been
you
bitten
to
by
11.
spiders. What a mess. No, then I'm trying to get a good night's sleep. Then I'm up at 6 in the morning.
Now you're screwed. You screwed yourself.
Hello, everybody. We have a great show for you today.
You're screwed.
Wendell Pierce is going to be here in a little minute, Zuckerman, in a little minute. Wendell Pierce. He's on one of my favorite news shows, Jack Ryan. I know you guys watching Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan on Amazon. You like that show? I've watched the entire first season. Season 2 is coming up, and he's one of the stars.
Wow.
Look at this. We've got one of the big stars here. That premieres Friday, November 1st. I've never met the man, but hopefully we'll get some news out of Season 2. If you haven't watched this, Zuckerman, you need to watch it. It's great. It's perfect kind of TV spy fun entertainment. You know that best-selling book you like to read in the summer at the resort? It's a page-turner. This is the video version of that.
That was the original Tom Clancy book, Hunt for Red October.
Right. And this has John, is it Krasinski? How does he pronounce his name? The Office guy?
John Krasinski.
Krasinski, I got it right. He's co-starring with Wendell.
Wendell.
They are fabulous together. And it's good. I can't wait to talk to them. It's going to be fun.
That's on, what did you say, what network?
It's on Amazon. Are you watching Our Boys yet on HBO?
I have not. I started for a moment before I fell asleep to watch Spy, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Did you buy him in that? Because I can't buy him in that. He still looks like a funny guy in that the whole time. Why wouldn't you watch Our Boys? I'm telling you.
I don't have HBO, but I'm going to get it.
You can get it on iTunes.
I don't have that on.
It's hard to keep track of all these subscriptions. I don't know what the hell we're going to do here. Everywhere I look, I've subscribed to things. Death by a Thousand Cuts.
How much do you think you're paying for TV now?
Let me tell you something. My business partner, John, he's got DirecTV Now, right? Which I don't know how that works, but I know it's only $50 as opposed to like $300 or $400 that I have for the NFL package and everything else that I'm not watching. I tried to call DirecTV to make the switch.
That's the punchline.
That's it. There's no way to get through to
it. There's an entry. There's an entry to give them the money, but there's no exit.
There's no exit at all. That's a different department,
It's a terrific scam.
They come over. They tack all this equipment to your roof,
and then you're
fucked.
Then
you're stuck, and you're fucked, and you're not watching it because we're watching everything on demand right now. Everything flows through the Apple TV or directly into the internet TV, and that's it. I don't need 2,000 channels. I want to watch. I'll watch the Red Sox. I can get that on Amazon. But you see what I mean? It's like Amazon. I have a bunch of subscriptions there. Apple, I've got a bunch of subscriptions. They're all. It's only $5.99.
They're just mooching.
They're mooching.
They're like real.
And then you look at DirecTV, and they're taking $300 or $400 out a month. Think about that. Netflix is what, $10?
It's a big hit for something you barely use.
And so they've decided they would clear out their operator help room. There's no one there. So you call, it's impossible to cancel. Right? Anyway.
Remember the olden days when you had to bring your cable box back to the place in Hollywood?
I do that. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
No, there's one
you
on
still
the west
do
side.
it?
I still do it, yeah. It's so wild.
Wildly 80s.
Because you can't, with all the different equipment, once you get the new DirecTV box, they say, well, this modem doesn't work. You got to call your internet. So then you're getting the modem, and then it knocks out half a dozen other things, your security cameras and the rest. So you're constantly traveling.
So then you have that guy in your life. He is the
I'm that guy.
No, he's kind of the cable guy, the guy that makes everything work. Do you have one of those guys?
I'm that guy.
Really? Are you going to come to my house?
There's a guy I use, Maury, I think is his name. Maury, if I get stuck, because I like to try to do this stuff. I feel better if I can do it myself, because then I understand it. I always hit a roadblock, and then I call Maury up, and he saves the day.
We have a guy. His name is Jerry the Satellite Guy, but I don't think he's doing anything with satellites anymore. But it's stuck from 20 years ago.
And these guys too, they come over, right? They do it once, and then they never want to come back because it's too hard.
Jerry,
really, do you remember? We've been alive long enough to remember that. Technology got really complicated, and then it got simple, right? It was all one button, and then everything worked. And now we're at another super complicated moment for technology, where everything's supposed to be your closet, your equipment closet, isn't it look insane right now?
I actually prefer my father on the roof screaming as he's moving the aerial antenna for the TV.
We're doing the same thing. I'm pressing the button. It's not working. Wait, try that. Turn that on and off. I just want to watch TV. Well, where do I watch it? I don't know. Turn the Amazon. Try on the Apple. Okay, well, turn on DirecTV. Well, maybe it's this. You know what? It's insane right now. And now you have the option. You hook up the internet directly to the rectangle, so that you don't even need the boxes. That's a whole nother mess.
I'm so incompetent. I somehow turned on the voice description for the blind people and
that's not good.
That watch TV.
Oh, that's good. I hear what you're saying. So it's describing what's
happening. For the life of me, I didn't know that it was for blind people watching TV. So I didn't understand why there was someone describing what was happening. It really made me nuts. And then, I think I told you this once before, I had a client come into the office who told me he does the descriptions for the blind people, and that's what that's all about.
What is that like?
He says, oh, and a man walks in the room and then opens the cupboard, like if it was Seinfeld. And then Jerry takes out the cereal.
Okay, what's happening now? What happens when you're watching Seth Rogen's The Boys? The superhero has just lowered his leotards, and now he's masturbating furiously on the new hire. What? What does the blind person do in that moment? I go, I got to turn what makes the blind person, what description makes the blind person turn off the program? I wonder. Like, how do they tell if it's good or not?
Okay, but
Michael Strahan is interviewing
And then if you've got
Ryan Seacrest right now, and the two of them are dancing around. All right, this is stupid. I don't want to watch this.
Could you imagine if you had
is it the deaf person or the blind person?
If you had the description company, after a while, your describer would need therapy if they were watching some of these dirty shows and then describing them.
We're a description company. Hey, before Wendell gets in here.
Wendell.
How do you know? Why are you saying Wendell?
I don't know.
It's not his name. Don't say that. But we haven't talked about Kevin Hart's accident.
Yeah, well.
Right? Not too long ago, Kevin Hart, and thank God he's okay, was, I think it was on a Saturday night. I'm probably going to get half the details wrong. Let me see if I can pull a story up here.
I will tell you I love Kevin Hart, but something's fishy.
Well, let's go through this. He's up, it was after midnight.
What kind
on
of car?
Saturday
Wasn't
night.
it some kind of crazy?
I'm going to get through all of it. Let me just find the information. But he goes off the road with two other people in the car on these roads that we drive up in the canyons, right?
Right. Why are
Do
you
you know
up
where
there?
he went out?
It was somewhere up Encino, right?
I think he lives on the other side of the hill, and I'm not sure where they were coming. But But this, I always say nothing good is happening after 10:30 at night, right? There's always shenanigans right after 10:30.
Right.
You and I know that probably better than anybody. But this crash is around 1 in the morning, right? And he's in this 1970 Plymouth Barracuda Menace made by a company called Speedcore Performance Group. It's a custom muscle car powered by a 6.4-liter Hemi V8 engine, 2.9-liter Whipple supercharger that makes 720 horsepower, Zuckerman.
That's a lot of horsepower.
720 horsepower in a Plymouth Barracuda, okay? That looks slammed. He goes off the road. There's no roll bar in this thing, right? There's no racing harness in this thing. It's 800 horsepower with no racing harness. Okay, here are the details I want you to comment on because you're involved in the legal community in some ways. Kevin was first. This is just eyewitness report that I'm taking off the internet. Kevin was first out of the vehicle, and according to a witness, a member of security team showed up in an SUV and picked him up. What is that? What is that moment right there?
Okay.
So he crashes. He's not driving. He's not the driver of the car. They roll. Everybody goes down the ravine as happens. The roof squashes on them, right? He's got a lot of back problems that he's recovering, and we wish him well. But how does that moment occur?
If I'm cynical.
Is he laying there and he picks up his phone, get me out of there? What? Security obviously isn't following him.
I'm very cynical when I hear this. It's just because to me the natural...
What is this moment?
Okay.
Yeah.
Your average person is going to call 911 and the cops and the ambulance are going to call. Now, I'm not in his strata of world, so maybe the natural call for him is to call security to come and fetch him and take him away. But it makes me wonder why you...
Phlegm.
Yes, phlegm. It makes me wonder, why is he doing that?
Now
What's
the
he
phlegm
got
is on
to
the other
hide?
foot. Well, now the phlegm is in the other throat.
Yes.
My allergy shots have been working well.
Should we pass our phlegm back and forth?
Oh, God. There are children listening. Zuckerman, you're right. All right? Think of it. Me, you, and Jerry are in a car, right? Jerry's driving like an idiot, and he crashes, and we're all squashed. I get out of the car, and I call security, and I leave the scene. I leave you two there. What is happening in that moment? Would you ever leave your two friends in a car?
Only if I wanted them to cover for me.
Yeah, I mean, what? Nobody is talking about the weirdness of this moment. It's like there are two people down in a ravine, security. So let's for a minute say, look, you're not hurt. And your friends are, but you don't want the bad press. So, hey, take me out. What kind of person does this? It's still a wildly bad decision. And like you say, it looks guilty as F.
As you would say, the optics are bad.
The optics are really bad right now on this.
And what we would say in the
I'm
law...
either leaving my friends or I was driving and I've been... something's wrong here.
We say in the law it goes to your state of mind.
Yes.
When you do something like leave the scene of the accident, it goes to your state of mind. To say guilty state of mind. That's an inference that we all draw.
Yes. Yes. And then he's back at his house, apparently, incoherent and unconscious. And then, a few hours later, he goes to the hospital. His back is broken. Yeah. He's a mess,
Yeah, because finally security finally says the boss ain't doing good.
Yeah, security has what kind of brain, Zuckerman?
Well, we know they have microscopic pea brains.
Right. And you've just been in a rollover accident where you could be internally bleeding, and Rex, your security guy, goes, we better, let's get him back to the house where he'll be safe.
I saw this in a movie.
Yeah, and we'll sit him down and get him some cookies and some milk.
Smelling salts.
Right. He could have killed Kevin Hart.
Right.
Now, Kevin Hart's also a national treasure. He's one of the funniest men out there. We love Kevin Hart in my house. We love him. And you take him from the scene of an accident and you leave him. I don't know. The whole thing is just stinky. Stinky, stinky, stinky.
I would say this goes to all of us with these cars that we can customize.
Yes.
And we can drive too fast and have a power ratio to. There is something that we have to be careful of when we're making our own cars. And we're letting a guy, and this guy could be the greatest car builder in the world. I don't know. But
look, I looked at the car. When you look at it, it's beautiful. You go, well, this is great. But now you see what, there was a kid, and I think I've told this story, and I won't go into the long version of it, but there was a kid in high school who crashed in an old Chevy, right? He had a hot-rodded motor on it. He went around a corner right into a tree. And for the rest of our high school careers, he carried the little Polaroid of the crash, and he just said, this is the car crash I was in. Brain was mashed potatoes, right?
Right.
In that moment, and I talked to my friend Scuzz about it. I'm like, what is that crash about? Scuzz is like American car chassis and a 500 horsepower motor.
Right. Bad combination.
They're dragsters, but they're not turners. They can go in a straight line, but they don't turn. They creak and they crash, right? Here we are, all these years later, in this beautiful thing, which is, if you look at it, Zuckerman.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's
but
it's a dragster. It's got big fat mags on the back. It's meant to go straight, and they're up on Mulholland. Look,
turn comes up quick.
Allegedly,
you're off the
somebody's
road.
Been drinking, maybe not, but they're in the dark, driving fast in this contraption, right?
Bad combination. It's a bad cocktail.
Yeah. Well, anyway. This has left me wanting one of these speed cores, so if you want me to drive your car. It's like the drug addicts with the heroin.
Yeah, we race to it.
Now we want one.
Oh, someone OD'd. That means it's good.
When I see someone crash in a car, I want that car because I want to try it. So maybe our friends at Speed Core will build us one.
A contraption.
It had a custom interior upholstery from Gabe's Custom Upholstery. And the car was given to him for his 40th birthday. Well, happy birthday, Kevin.
Don't make me laugh like that. It's not right. Well, happy birthday, Kevin.
I'm going to give you something
that'll kill you.
Going to ruin your back for the rest of your life. And I hope it doesn't. I hope he recovers because these accidents. This could be pain for the rest of his life. It's awful,
I know,
right?
I have that. But he can just have the Rock carry him around like Quato. So he can be sewed into the Rock's chest.
That's not funny. He's hurt. Our friend Kevin Hart is hurt. He's not our friend. We don't know him. But still, folks. These American hot rod custom deals without roll. Put a roll. This is, you want to just take something away from this ridiculous conversation we're having. Roll bars do save lives. They save backs in this case. And if they had had the roll bar, which SpeedCore makes this car with a roll bar and a racing harness, which, by the way, is cool. When the car rolls, the roof isn't going to collapse on you, and you're not going to have to be extricated with the jaws of life like Zuckerman and his 356 back in the day. Right?
True, and I still have pain from that.
All right, we've got Wendell Pierce here.
Wendell.
We'll be right back, and we're going to talk to Wendell about Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, Season 2. Well, it's time to talk about my sponsors. This printed ad in front of me is called Weird Things. All right, here we go. Think of all the weird things found in cars. And I'm not talking about the stuff that my Plan Z guys leave in that front boot. And I found everything because between Moise and his groceries and Zuckerman with his iced teas, it's just a mess. And it makes me wonder about them. And another thing that I wonder about, but in a good way, are Continental belts. Bet you didn't know they're OE in tens of millions of Chrysler, Dodge, Ford, and GM vehicles that roll off the assembly line. They're also OE on the majorities of BMWs and VMWs. VMWs? What? VWs. Now Continental is launching the aftermarket multi-V belt with the OE pedigree. It's their OE Technology Series belt that are fanatically engineered for perfect fit, form, and function. And Continental has an OE Technology Series multi-V belt for 98% of vehicles on the road in the U.S. and Canada. Hey, you get enough surprises working on cars and trucks. A belt should not be one of them. Go to Continental OE Technology Series multi-V belt, the belt with the OE pedigree. To get the full story, visit oetechnologyseries.com.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
We're here with Wendell Pierce. He's telling us about his radio career.
Oh, that's where I started, man. 16 years old. I sent a tape in to a program director. I'm from New Orleans. And I did like a little segment, which I am going to produce now on a radio station that I'm buying as we sit
Come
here.
on.
Yes.
At 16, did you have that? Was that a baritone?
It was going in and out, you know. It was going. I was studying, you know. I'm an actor.
There.
What is this?
So it's like every once in a while I'll be like this and then go, you know, can I take you to a movie because I really think you're cute? And then she go, oh yeah. You know?
What was the radio segment?
So the radio segment was Milestones in Color. It was like a little 1-minute segment on during Black History Month, right? And I sent it to him, and a guy named Brute Bailey, who I understand is out here somewhere in California, said, I like the idea, but let me teach you radio. So he would let me come every Saturday and go into the production booth and cut radios. This is old school. Where you had a turntable on each side and had to cue it up yourself and cut tape together when you did commercials and all. And so he taught me that stuff. And then one day he said, oh, let me talk to your mother. Can you come on tonight? You know, and cover for a guy. And I was like, what? Yeah, and then that was my summer gig in college.
No kidding.
What a great
This is Wendell Pierce on the Music FM 98. It's 20 minutes after 2 o'clock, and you're listening to the Isley Brothers.
We have to do a podcast that's just called Origin Stories. Right.
Well, that's a dream come true for a kid, like to be in a radio set. I would have killed for that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Dude,
and this is the old school studio, man, where they had the window on the street.
Yeah.
So people can walk by and look through the lobby and see you on air and stuff. Oh, man.
See, my station was BCN in Boston. That was the one with Charles Laquardera. And that's the one we were freaking out over. You know, any event they had, we would go there. But that, you know, I can't even imagine what it would have been like if they had invited me in to, you know, I went back years later as a Letterman writer, and even when I walked in, I was like, it was Mecca to me. I was like, my God,
I know, man.
Here it is. This is where they made that show, right?
Yeah. It's really cool. So yeah, I started in radio, and right now there's a little
and now you're buying a station.
Yeah, there's a legacy station. It's a small, 1,000-watt station. WBOK AM. It's Black News Talk and sports. And it started at 70 years ago, 1949, in New Orleans.
Wow.
So a black radio station in the middle of segregation, it's a legacy station. They had, black folks didn't have anywhere else to go. You know, this is probably like, there's a church dinner at, St. Stephen's Baptist Church on Sunday, and Martin Luther King is coming in town, by the way, So it has a great history, and so it was being sold, and some guys called me and said, would you like to be a part of the group? And I'm like, we can't let that station just go. So, yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic.
What are your plans for it?
We keep it as a, it's a political, it's a talk radio, political shows, and I want some more cultural shows on there.
Will it stream?
And sports. Yes, we'll be streaming. WBOK, 12:30 a.m., New Orleans. I'm about to say the Music FM. That's WBOK.
Are you going to stop in? Are you going to do a show yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm going to do. I'm going to do a show. I'm doing Jack Ryan right now, which is going all around the world and stuff. So I was thinking about doing that, wherever I'm shooting.
Show there?
Yeah.
Or
kind of like Where's Wendell or something, that sort of thing, or feature different places where I'm going.
Where's Wendell?
But no, I'm probably I'm doing a show called Profiles, and just profiling people and places and things like that,
amazing.
Probably once a month.
Now, when you first came in, we'll get to Jack Ryan, because I love this show. It's a fantastic show. Season 2 is premiering Friday,
1st.
November 1.
Yes.
On Amazon Prime Video.
140 countries, all in the single moment.
Get to it. when you walked in, you said, and people always say this when the mic's not rolling, I have a Porsche. The best conversations are going on around the show all the time.
They said, stop. Yes.
Stop.
I have a Porsche.
Finish.
Yes.
Tell us.
1995 air-cooled
993.
Carrera, black on black. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you
narrow
go.
body. What a fantastic car.
And let me tell you, when I was doing The Wire, I would drive that car across the country.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was the best.
Wow.
And let me tell you something, man.
So from where to where were you driving it?
Los Angeles to Baltimore.
Okay.
From New Orleans, so I would drive to New Orleans, stop there, then have a little time with my family.
Take the
my mom,
10,
dad.
huh?
Did you drive it by yourself?
Yeah.
So
and one time, my girl drove like half the way with me. Yeah.
Was she intending to go the whole way? And then
No. It was actually it was back to L.A. So it was cool. It was like New Orleans to L.A. That she rode, but it was cool. Yeah, we had a good time.
And so
but I guess people fess up when they open up their rides and stuff. I would always take the 10, and get to El Paso, and then turn north on a state highway going up through White Sands, New Mexico. The state highway in Texas, and then it turns into New Mexico State Highway, 2 lanes, and I would put it across, and it would be 360 degrees of nothing, just desert. And I would put it over the center line and open it up, boy. And the thing about I've
all right, tell us where are you going to?
And we go to Carlsbad.
No,
Caverns.
speed wise, what are you coming up to?
Oh, okay. I got up to I would do about between 115, 110, 115.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
in a 993.
And I got scared. I've got it up, a little higher, but then I just got scared.
Yeah.
Because what happens is not the car, it's not the control, it's the road.
Right.
So because you're looking up ahead, man, and you're like looking for tree branches or something, a pothole or something. That was the thing that terrified me the most.
But what about animals? That's what I always fear. Like when I'm up over, sometimes I've been on open roads and I've ducked up a little over 160, and that's where it gets a little nutty.
Yeah, no, I haven't gone there. 140. 140.
That's puckery.
Right.
140's got a pucker factor.
Yeah. In a 993.
Yeah, man, but
so I have questions about 993s across countries. Did you how were you comfortable in it? Did your back hurt at all at any point driving?
No, I was totally cool. I'm like a little stumpy dude, right? So
right.
It was perfect for me. And
you didn't care about the shifting. You didn't care about any of that.
No, man, I'm the worst. I'm the worst at shifting. But
so this car must have miles on it.
Oh yeah, I have. It's sitting in a garage right now, but I have some miles on it.
When did you buy this car? Where were you in
life?
It. When?
I got it. It was. It's a 95. I got it in 97. I was doing a show. It was my. I was doing a show with Gregory Hines, right? The Gregory Hines show, and Gregory Hines bought a Jaguar, right? And he said, "Man, we're doing a show. You got to give yourself a present."
Kind of advice I like.
Cool.
This is exactly true.
So this is 97, right? I'll never forget driving. He said, "I love this car, man. It's a great engine. Everybody talks about it, so tough and all." He said, "But it's a great engine." And, man, I put the top down. He said, "The only problem is, man, I got to take it back to the dealer because the radio keeps messing up. Keeps going up and down and turns and stations and turns off and all that shit." Driving along. So one time I was driving with him, the first time driving. He said, "Come on, take a ride." And we were driving. And then, he had the music on. We had the top down. I'm like, man, this is the shit. Oh, this podcast.
You can say what you should hear what he says.
Okay. So, and we're driving along, the music is bumping, it changes and shit, volume. I'm like, he says, you see? That's the one problem. I was like, "Gregory, that's you, man. You fucking have your fingers on it." It was the first time he didn't realize the controls were on the steering wheel.
So. And he was doing it. Oh, my God, what a relief. He must have been so happy.
Yeah, he was happy, man. And then because of that, he said, "Buy yourself a present." And I was like, yeah. And I got this car. And
wow.
Our show ended, and I got this car, and I don't know if it was after Gregory Hines show and right before The Wire, and I got it and drove there, and oh man, and I drove it to New Orleans first. the 10 to New Orleans, driving home, and it was great.
Yeah, look at you.
22 years you've had this thing, or 20 some odd years.
He's coming home, Zuckerman. He leaves the town. He's coming home in the Porsche.
With a Porsche.
Yeah.
He's buying the radio station. You see how much money is in TV? Now, by the way, you've been on quite a few shows. What did you buy when you were on The Wire? Which car? What are you buying because of Jack Ryan? You know, I'm going to have to take up the Gregory Hines mantle here.
I started doing. I didn't buy cars. I started doing houses.
Let's buy cars.
Smart, man.
So the Wire. I bought an apartment in New York, and then. A house in
I want you to buy
Los
cars.
Angeles, and then a house after Katrina and Treme. I bought a house in New Orleans and started I started a community development corp to rebuild my neighborhood because we were destroyed by Katrina.
Yeah,
so, you know, putting solutions on the table and buying houses, not cars. But
now that we're on Jack Ryan,
I rented. Jack Ryan?
Now that we're here,
I leased,
what kind of car are we going to get you?
I leased. No, I did, and I gave it up, and I regret it.
What was
it? Yeah.
Jaguar. XR.
Which one?
XR.
Oh, those are good cars.
2014.
Yep. That's a nice car.
And,
I can get
drop
you in
top.
one of those. But,
they stopped making them.
Yeah. But they're still out there.
Yeah. And
still out there.
214.
Zuckerman, what would you put him in right now? He's on...
I'm looking at a man who he's got the Porsche. I would say right. He's got a Porsche, but
he's got the real estate.
He needs a Benz. He needs one of those tough Benzes now. It's kind of a muscle car with a drop top. Signifies power, success. Yeah,
I like the that eggshell.
Yeah,
Benz.
Yes, that's
CR something.
Yeah.
See, you guys are better with all the names and the engines and stuff. I'm that guy who goes, oh, I like that car.
Right. I could see you in that.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I was just reading, Jalopnik, I think, just did a piece on the Mercedes convertibles, that there are 13 different convertible models right now that Mercedes
I like
is
the AMG.
Yes.
Yeah.
That stuff, you know.
Yes.
AMG GT?
Because
the long extra there? That would get you to New Orleans really fast.
I know, man. but, you know, I know a couple of police officers on that 10 in Texas.
Yeah.
That,
I mean, nothing against the 993. It's not exactly the fastest vehicle anymore. It's a collectible, nice old vehicle. Our friend, Mr. Greenberg, just bought a 995 cab.
95, yeah.
I saw him yesterday just driving
I've
around.
got a 993. I love those cars.
They're great cars.
They're
It's the last of the air-cooled 911.
I know, man. That's the thing that I love. That's the thing that I love.
Yeah.
But,
and it's
you
yours
need an
forever.
AC, too. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
My AC keeps going. I have a Freon leak in that sucker. And it's awful to have it in California. With
Black
no
on
AC.
black.
Well,
black
that
on black,
happened
no AC.
in our 87.
Yeah.
That's happened twice to me in my Range Rover Sport, which is a 2016. I've O-rings. I keep blowing out O-rings, and I keep losing it. I was shooting out in Glendale 3 weeks ago, and it was 110 degrees. I'm sweating driving. Oh, what's happening here? It's a new car. Anyway.
And on Jack Ryan, my character has. I wanted, and they have me in like a muscle car, like a Charger or something like that. That's what opened Jack Ryan in season 1.
Yeah, what car was that?
That was a gray Charger, Dodge Charger.
It wasn't a Plymouth Barracuda Menace, was it? Like Kevin Hart's car?
No.
Which we were just talking about.
That's all. How's he doing? Oh, come on, man. The man's in rehab.
I know. We love Kevin Hart.
And
we're just a little upset about the fact that there was no roll cage in the car, because that would have saved him. That
right.
know.
Yeah, because I saw it, man. It was crushed.
But this is, again, just a roll cage conversation. It's a complex issue, because some guys will tell you if you put the roll cage in your car that if you get rear-ended, you're going to smash your head in. You got to wear a helmet. And other people will say you got to have it in, because if you roll, you're going to die. You're going to get hurt. So you're really picking between the lesser of two evils, right, Zuckerman? He's a personal injury attorney. You've seen these rollover accidents, right?
I think there's a way to put a roll bar in that's not going to hurt you when you're rear-ended.
Do you know what you do? You put the pads on it,
you
right?
Put pads
Roll
on it,
bar pads,
or you have a seat. So then you might want to put in a different kind of seat that has a headrest that's going to protect you from that. There's no perfect solution, but obviously, if you're doing a hot rod. If you're taking an old chassis and you're putting in 700 horsepower,
Right.
you've got to think a little bit about your application of power.
Or like the CIA officers that we play on Jack Ryan, you just make sure that sucker is, bomb-proof.
That's right. All right. Well, we're going to talk
It'll
about
survive everything.
We're going to talk about Jack Ryan. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Wendell Pierce. Support for Spike's Car Radio comes from Manscaped, who is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for areas that need it. Wink, wink, nod, nod. I'll tell you, Manscaped has a redesigned electric trimmer, their Lawnmower 2.0, that has proprietary skin-safe technology, so this trimmer won't nick or snag. You know where, folks. Years ago, I wrote an episode on Seinfeld about this. Before there was even the term manscaping, I wondered, and we had Jerry, the character, wonder, am I allowed to cut it? What am I supposed to cut it with? What happens after I cut it? Well, here we are years later, and now there's Manscaped. Manscaped has a crop preserver, an anti-chafing deodorant, and moisturizer. You already put deodorant in your armpits. They want you to put it down there. Why are you not putting deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? Speak for yourself. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code SPIKE at manscaped.com. Always use the right tools for the job. Your testicles will thank you. First time I've said that. 20% off and free shipping with code SPIKE at Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code SPIKE. Okay, everybody's got a to-do list, dropping off, dry cleaning, picking up some milk. Here's an idea. Let's save hundreds of dollars on car insurance. And the good thing is, you don't have to drop off or pick up anything. All you have to do is go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on your car insurance. Extra money in your pocket, my friends. You know what to do with that. It's just maybe the most rewarding to-do you do today.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
And we're back. All right, let's talk about one of my favorite shows, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. Season 2 is coming up November 1st, Friday, 2019. I really love this show.
Thank you, man.
I really genuinely enjoyed it, and I find it to be a premium mainstream drama that has me watching every episode. Like, some stuff is a little smaller that I watch on Netflix, like we were talking about Our Boys on HBO. Mm-hmm. This show is just big and beautiful and fun, like a Tom Clancy bestseller that you're turning every page on the beach. Congratulations on it.
Thank you very much.
In the opening scene you were just talking about, which is the bump into before your two characters meet, right?
Right.
It was a muscle car, right?
Yes, it was.
And I noticed that car. And I went, why did he choose that car? You didn't.
Right. I didn't choose it, and I went back and forth with the producers. I wanted, a 5 Series BMW or something like that.
Right,
I thought that's what the cat is.
Okay.
He probably, here's this, middle-class African-American guy who probably lives in PG County right outside of D.C. He's,
James Greer.
Yeah, James
That's
Greer.
our character.
That's my character.
He's the hard-ass boss.
He's a hard-ass boss.
And he's also a practicing Muslim.
And he went out in the field, did a little something, and he's getting spanked, and he was sent back to Langley. And so I thought that's the kind of car that he would have. And then they said, but look at this car, Wendell. And then I thought about it, and I said, every guy has that little boy in him that says, the first car that they saw. I was like, man, boy, one day I'm going to get that, that Trans Am or that T-Top Z or whatever, And so I then made a decision as a character that was why he got this this muscle car. Something he saw as a kid because his family's falling apart. He's getting divorced. His job is he's getting spanked. So he's like
angry guy cars are really good. I mean, it's such an interesting character that you play, and it's very unexpected. And the scene is Jack Ryan's riding his bike to work, right?
Right.
And you're coming in on the car, and you almost run him over, and you have a little bit of road rage, and that's kind of how they're introduced. And then
all of a sudden he gets to the office. Jack Ryan gets to the office and says, who's the new boss? And then the next thing he knows, I walk in and it was like, oh no, the guy I got into an incident with.
That's my boss.
That's my boss.
I like that. I was in at that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like it. I know what this is going to be. This is a buddy comedy between these two guys, and I'm really going to enjoy it. And then you guys are on the trail of Suleiman,
Suleiman, yes.
the terrorist.
The terrorist.
Right?
And what happens is he
Now, but
thinks
wait,
he's gonna...
I have some questions.
Okay.
At that moment when you first start, you guys are both analysts. Jack Ryan is just an analyst. He's just an office guy. He's not really doing field
Right.
work.
Yeah, we're in TFAD, which is the financial analyst
Right.
division of CIA, and which is a place where, you know, a chief of station or a guy who's been in the field, like Greer's been in the field, that's where they go when they're being,
Busted down.
When they're being busted down.
Right.
And so
A paper pusher.
Yeah, paper pusher. So I'm already ticked off.
So
right?
you guys catch wind of this terrorist
Jack
and this
does.
money moving. Jack does.
Jack does, and then I realize, oh, wait a minute.
There's something there.
There's something there, and this might be my in, my in or back in to the field.
It's a real field
And then
work.
I say, hey, come on, man. Let me
And
show
then-
you something. Yeah,
Yeah.
come on.
Before you know it, you guys are out in Afghanistan
We're in Yemen.
Syria, Yemen.
Yeah,
Yemen. It's amazing.
yeah.
Fighting terrorists and shooting at them, but
Right. and Jack has been, he has military experience, so he's
Right.
already there. So he's like, hey, man, I'm just an analyst, and I'm like, not anymore. Come
which
on.
he downplays, and it's got all that great CIA stuff. Like he meets this girl, this doctor, but he can't tell her what he does. But he keeps coming back on the weekend, all beaten up, and he's got
Right.
cuts. And she's like, "Where did you go this weekend?"
Right,
Right?
Yeah, nowhere,
Yeah, it's great.
He's
And
like,
it's-
what kind of analyst at the State Department,
Yeah. But it's one of those, when I watch it, I just go, it's fun to pretend you're Jack Ryan and that character, right? And, you relate to your character, too. Like, God, we've all been beaten down like this, and we want this guy to come back. And then there they are together.
The two folks who you think are, from disparate worlds come together and find
Right.
this commonality.
Okay.
What's great about the show is the fact that we shoot it like a movie.
Yes.
Just one
That's
big,
what it looks like.
long-form movie, man.
Right.
Amazon has really given us the budget and really has sent us out all over the world. We shot in
They have to. They have nothing
Montreal
else.
and Morocco.
Yes.
and right, and London
Wow.
and Paris, and this year Colombia and Moscow. And
Do you like traveling like that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Really?
Do you have a
love
family? Are you married? Do you have kids?
No, I don't have a family.
Oh, you don't.
obviously.
So that's why you love it. You're fine.
Yeah,
You're like Jay
obviously.
Leno. You're right.
That's the first question everybody says. Man, you get to go all these places. You love it. Yeah, you don't have a family, do you?
Well, you missed my spider bite baseball story from last night, and you'd understand where that's coming from. But that sounds amazing. So you're
Yeah.
on the road going to these places. All right, here, where we left
And
off.
then the show comes out, and one day it's in 140 countries.
One
And so
day, right?
it is a real world premiere. And
Yes.
that never happened before. People always roll it
Right.
out from different markets and all. But when we dropped Jack Ryan, it was in 140 countries, man. So
Instant worldwide
instant-
fame, right?
instant
It's a
worldwide.
different game right now. It's amazing. Do they? I forget. Do they drop all the episodes at once, or do they drop them one at a time weekly?
They drop all the episodes at once.
They do, so you can binge it. All right,
Yeah.
you left off. All right, I had to go back and remember we leave off with you packing up your box. You've been promoted, right?
Right.
And
I'm
you're
back in the field.
you're heading to Russia.
That's
Does
right.
that mean we have a big Russia storyline coming for season 2? Which would be very relevant to what's happening right now in this country?
We open up, and James Greer is in Russia as deputy chief of station.
Wow.
Which is a major position.
Yes.
Nice road back to
Yeah, and I have invited, you see at the end of the first season that I've invited Jack to join me, and then you discover if Jack accepted that invitation or not. What happens ultimately is, just like as always, we're on different roads, disparate places, but we ultimately come back together and
rubber
work on
band.
something. Right, yeah. The band is back together, and we are following a political. It takes us all over.
Wow.
From studying Russia, and all I'm saying is we shot in Colombia for Venezuela, and we shot in London, and we shot in Moscow, and so in DC. So it's
And is the TV president better than our president currently that we have?
You're going to put him on the
because
spot.
that's not very real. If I'm watching your show and I see a guy making logical decisions, then I'm like, what is this? This isn't based on any sort of reality. It's not the way it goes.
Well, what happens is there are a lot of people.
Do you just,
It's very
do they
interesting.
just avoid the president?
No, what happens is the CIA is very interesting. You know, military intelligence is rank and file, and you go up the chain of command all the way to the White House. The CIA operates solely for the purpose of the president. Really? The entire CIA solely for the purpose of the president. And the CIA, the people that I have met in the CIA, and there's one guy in particular who I kind of fashioned Greer on. He's a retired CIA officer. Mm-hmm. And we actually put this in the story last year. It came in Jack's storyline. But, you know, I asked him, I said, with all this going on, I mean, you're an African-American man, and you know COINTELPRO, you know the history of this agency and our community and all. What allows you to be? He says, listen, man, there's racism in the world, there's racism in the country, whatever. We all hate racism. We all hate ignorance. I'd rather be in the agency and try to change things than outside of the agency and try to change things. He says, that's simple. Right? And I was like, wow. So when I think about the differing opinions that we may have of any president that this whole agency is for,
right.
They're committed to giving that person the best intelligence possible. Like, no matter where you are on that spectrum,
right,
you have the greatest agency in the world and have all the best information. And now,
there you go.
In particular, with this show, we were there, I remember it exactly, January 6, 2017, doing research. And we went to meet the director of the agency. Hold on, let me edit. And they said, I'm sorry, the director isn't here today. He was supposed to meet with you and all. He's meeting with the president-elect.
Mm-hmm. Seminal moment.
And I was just like, what? You know? So he said, no, he's meeting with the president-elect.
Right.
And it was just, that was it. So everything that has happened.
Yeah.
I think of that day.
Yeah.
I think of that day because he was bringing all the intelligence of the agency.
Right.
Family jewels.
Right. And saying,
here you go.
Here you go, sir. And I'm sure there were conversations about him. In that briefing.
Did they eat McDonald's? Was it a McDonald's meeting? Did they have all the fast
so I
food
always
there?
think, and now, man, you see, I see him. You know, he is now that the director's gone.
Yep.
You know, at each other's throats. You know, and I just go, man, I wish I could have been at that briefing, at that at that PDB. But it is a fascinating thing.
Well, when you have CIA agents can't tell you that they are CIA agents. Officers can.
Yeah. Agents are assets that you get outside of it. You are an officer.
You are an officer.
Yeah.
Do you have guys consulting on set with you guys to tell you how things are done during those scenes?
We have consultants throughout the process.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that this role has made you a student of history and current events more so than you otherwise were?
Yeah, because what happens? Well, I always was. I'm kind of a political buff and a historical buff, and my brother went to West Point, right? And my father fought in Saipan,
right,
in the segregated army, and came back.
World War II,
right? And I had uncles in Vietnam, so the whole military aspect and all. What I find fascinating is how the agency started in World War II.
That's
those
OSS,
the OSS, right? And then also. What I was amazed at is the diversity in the agency. That I was surprised. To see just regular folks. I mean, we have the Hollywood idea,
Right.
So but I remember when we were doing the research, man. They wanted me to meet someone like James Greer, and I met him, and I was like, wow, and that was great. That was great. And also, it's also kind of weird because I know that's not his name. You know?
Yeah.
And I get to ask him all the personal stuff, like, how does that affect your life? Because that's why we get divorced.
Yeah.
It's it's hard. It's hard to live this life, clandestine sort of life, and not have it affect you personally. There was this one chief of station, 27 years, out different stations all over the world. He and his wife were close. It was great. He came back to, finally kind of was retiring and came back to the States, and she waited until he came back to the States, and she said, "I'm leaving you." Right? After 27 years, being out there, and she was just, and she said when she got, and it was something that clicked when she got home. Like,
right.
I've done my bid, and I stayed, and he's like, so that was tough. And I said, did that happen to you? I said, is that you? First of all, that's the first thing I asked him. Goes, no, it's not me. But, I am divorced.
Zuckerman, do you think of how many cars we could hide from our wives if we were in the CIA?
Right.
We can. Honey, it's part of my cover.
Right.
Yeah, I can't answer that question.
That's
it's just the amount of times that I could get away with anything. Anything.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of your cover. I can't talk about that.
And
Sorry.
here's it.
Honey, I can't
you
talk
saw it
about
in the first season. You saw it in the first season and all. And these stash rooms that they have that,
I like that.
God, weapons and cars and
it's so cool.
Money that you have to have and stuff.
Now I know why so many people pretend to be in the CIA. It really is perfect. You're coming at 4 a.m. Where have you been? I can't talk about it.
Please, you smell like a stripper.
It's a whose GT3 Speedster is that in the garage? Again,
can't tell you.
The less questions you ask me, the better, honey.
If I tell you, I have to kill you.
If I tell you, I have to. I could say I may have to kill you for that, and I can't. And I won't get in trouble.
And I love you too much for that.
Right? I'm not sure I would say that. Just kidding.
I have another question, if I may.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So how do you go from radio to acting? How did that take place?
I was studying at the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. That was my performing
arts. Didn't you go to Juilliard?
Didn't you? And then I went to Juilliard. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
who did you study with at Juilliard? There was someone notable who was kind of flying through.
Brad Whitford was in my class.
Bradley Whitford, that's right.
He was in my class, and Thomas Gibson was in my class. Who was on CSI. Those guys were in my class.
And how, so wait, just an acting question, from a writer. Do you have the acting ability when you go to acting school at Juilliard, or did you develop it there, or did you hone it there?
It's all about development.
Did you find it there?
Right, no, I had it going in. I studied in high school. My high school was really good. I went half the day. You're from New York, right?
No, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts,
yeah,
that's
small
right.
town of Massachusetts.
Yeah,
but I've lived in New York.
Yeah,
we didn't have acting class.
Get your hackles up. Boston.
No.
Boston.
Listen, I'm sitting here in L.A. As a Saints fan with the Saints coming in this weekend. So,
New England. Everybody has New England right now.
No, I love the Red Sox. That's a face for a podcast.
Yeah.
So no, I was studying. It was really good. It wasn't like some drama club, because we didn't even do plays. We kind of did scenes and we did one acts, but really just studied text and develop your voice and movement and how to break down a scene and really come to understanding that acting is closer to psychology. Create the world so strong that it induces the behavior. Have an understanding of it from a psychological.
That's
thing.
high school,
Juilliard,
or that was in high school.
Yeah.
So you knew at what age did you form the idea that you were going to do something creative in the arts?
Oh, I kind of knew.
At 16, he was.
I knew that.
15. Yeah. I started like at 14, 15, 16. I tried to do. I got into radio, and I knew it, and I thought it was it's concurrent track. When I got out of high school, academically, I got accepted to the University of Chicago and Brandeis,
right,
and Sarah Lawrence,
all the girls,
right, all the girls, and that was the pitch. That's how I found out. They said, but I got into Juilliard,
how do you get accepted into Sarah Lawrence? Isn't that an all-girls school at that point?
No, it just turned. I'm class of 81.
We used to date those girls in Boston when we went to college. It was all about,
that was the whole pitch.
Sarah Lawrence girls.
They were like, hey, listen.
Yeah, it was like 18 girls to one guy.
Yeah,
in the dorm.
and that's I can see the recruiter now. We used to have at Ben Franklin. my academic school, right? I went half the day to an academic school, high school, which was a college prep, kind of like Stuyvesant in New York, right? And then the other half to New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, and that's where I went to school with Winston Marsalis, Harry Connick Jr., Anthony Mackie went to school there after
No
me.
kidding.
And so I had the best of both worlds. So going into college, I had that too. I'm like, okay, University of Chicago, Brandeis, North Carolina School of the Arts, and Juilliard. What am I going to do? I said I can always. Juilliard only accepts 15 to 20 people, so I better take that because I can always go back and get an academic.
Wait, what did they say at Sarah Lawrence? They were pitching.
Sarah Lawrence. So the pitch was, and so at lunchtime I would go to they would have college recruiters at lunchtime, and I went back over and over to Sarah Lawrence, and the woman said, "Listen, we are everything." Yeah, it was a woman. Yes, we are everything. We need you. We need you as much as you need us.
Really?
Right? She said, you are a working class, black, Southern, male, Catholic, and we have predominantly, New England, upper middle class, Jewish women, and you actually will cohabitate in the dorm with them.
Come on.
And you will have a house, and we call them quads. And you will be one, and then there will be 3 other women with you. And we have like 10-to-1, women to men.
I'm signing up.
Right? and she kept bringing that up, and I said, but I want to be an actor. And they said, we will design a program for you to go into the city. You have our professors, and we have. They had a relationship with the Neighborhood Playhouse, which was a great training program, and we will develop a program at the Neighborhood Playhouse for you.
And the girls will come and show up to every performance.
Right.
They will dress you. They will put on your makeup.
Like, powder. Oh, man.
Powder you.
So I really, at one point, I was just like,
powder your balls.
Come on.
I felt like a football player in Division One. It was a pitch. And this is a great liberal arts school, so these girls are like very
ready
open.
to go.
We ended up there a few weekends, and they're right about those quads. They're just full of girls, but I don't know at that age if that was really appealing to me. I was still kind of like, I don't know if I want that.
That's
a great pitch, huh?
It was a great pitch, though. I was just kind of like, man, this is going to be interesting.
See, I had the opposite. I was at Berklee College of Music, which was all dudes and one girl. Who now?
You went to Berklee?
I did, yeah.
Oh, man, you know Branford? Branford Marsalis went there.
I know who he is.
Yeah, you're younger than us. I keep forgetting. But, all my buddies went there, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
But they weren't there when I was there. That was just me. And it was... it wasn't the school it is today. It turns out it's now like one of the big schools like Juilliard that feeds the entertainment. It's just like one of the top 5 all of a sudden. This little school I went to that I didn't
it was
really
jazz. So
pay
in the
attention to.
80s, it was that for jazz. Right. And now it is that for pop music.
Right.
Engineering and
exactly
all of that, man. Berklee has become,
that's what I was doing, music production and engineering and music scoring and that stuff.
All the producers and stuff,
But I had jazz I liked Miles Davis and John. I listened to it. I didn't like playing it. It was too complicated for me. I was more about I was a blues guitarist. I like blues.
Block chords, man.
Yeah. I had fun. I used to work on a show called Night Music with David Sanborn, where we had a lot of those guys come walking through. And
I did jazz at Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
For like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
All the concerts from there.
It's great.
On the radio. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, I met Miles Davis. I met,
Have you seen the new Miles documentary?
No.
Birth of the Cool? You have to see it by Stanley Nelson, man. Oh, it is fantastic. It's out now.
Wow.
Go and see it.
I'll go see that.
It is really, really good. And also, do you know there's a new Miles record album? They found an album that's coming out in like a month. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
2. They just found a John Coltrane album and then a Miles album of music,
I had one of the funnier things that happened in Berklee was meeting Dizzy Gillespie, who was down at the record store down the street, and I had gone to the Newport Jazz Festival and taken pictures of him. Yeah. And I had a big stack of Dizzy Gillespie pictures because I'm a trumpet player too.
Oh, cool.
So I thought, I'm going to bring these pictures to Dizzy Gillespie at his book signing. Waited in line for an hour for Dizzy. Got there and I said, Dizzy, I'm Spike. I was Michael at that point. I've got these pictures of you. And he just looked at me and he goes, you going to buy my book? What? No, I brought these pictures for you. I just never been around famous people before. I just thought we could bond over this. He goes, if you're not going to buy my book, you should just wave me on. And I went, oh, this is how the world works. This is how the world works. The other thing that happened right after that was suddenly in the dorms, everybody said, the president is landing down the street in his helicopter. Ronald Reagan. Wow. I went, a president of the United States? He go, come on. We all left class, and we go running down Mass Ave and go around the corner, and then at this, some sort of industrial weapons facility that's down there, suddenly there's Marine One landing, and out comes Ronald Reagan. He gets to the top of the stairs, and he waves, and all of these hands go right by my head with a middle finger extended, and they go, fuck you. And, it's the days where there's no real security, so you're kind of right next to the helicopter. I'm like, my God, these guys are going to be in such trouble for flipping off the president of the United States. How dare you? I just know, no awareness, right? I'm 18. I just turned 18. But two funny moments about life that you're just learning about life, happening around you. Anyway. It's been great.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun talking to you, Wendell.
Same here, man.
You've got season 2 under your belt. I know Amazon is paying you an awful lot of money. We got to get him in something new.
Yes, let's spend his money.
Let's spend your money. The new 992-911 is coming out.
992-911.
You told me about the new Miles Davis album. We're going to tell you about the new 911 is coming out.
Wait, now, what do you think about
Cabriolet?
I want to do electric, man. I want to do a Tesla.
The Taycan is what you want, I think.
Taycan?
Yeah. Tesla is not as cool as the Taycan, the new Porsche electric.
Oh, okay, right. I just read about that.
They're cool. Audi e-tron GT, another cool one. You've already got a Porsche. It's going to be hard for you to go to the Tesla at this point. And Elon Musk he's acting a little daffy these days.
Yeah.
He's getting a little nutty.
It's just one thing. It's cool. One thing, man.
Yeah.
You smoke a little doobie, and then you say this and you say that.
You're very understanding. Well, everybody's making an electric car, so really you'll have your choice. I mean, even Jaguar has one.
Jaguar has one. Yeah. What about that BMW? No.
The i8, the i3s, they don't have a lot of range. Okay. I think it would be interesting for a guy like you to do one of your longer drives. I mean, if you did get a Tesla, to try to drive it to New Orleans and
battery anxiety.
Just to do it.
Well, the thing about the Tesla is, I was always fearful of those, the charging stations.
Right.
Like you get out of L.A., you get to Texas, like, look here, boy.
I need to charge my electric car.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, right here. I get a lot of attention in Texas in my black Porsche already. Right? Because I remember stopping in Sonora, Texas, just east of San Antonio, about an hour and a half west of San Antonio. Before I got there, pull in. It's literally a one-light town. Grocery store, hotel, convenience store, and gas station. You smell Sonora before you get there because it is the cattle exchange, right? So you just see, 100,000 cattle, and then you get to the little town. So I'm like, well, if you're going to get a steak, it has to be Sonora, right? So I stop in a steakhouse, and I pull up, and no one is at this place. And it's like 1 o'clock. It's, lunchtime. I pull up in this black Porsche with California plates, right? Brother gets out. I walk in, and the lady looks at me and says, can I help you? I was like, hey, lunch. I wanted to get a steak. I'm like, cool. So I sat down, and ordered, and I'm waiting for my meal, and the next thing you know, you see the sheriff pull up.
Come on.
And it was classic. So I'm sitting in the booth, and he just walks in. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, how you doing? So he walks up to the counter and he sits down, gets a cup of coffee, and I'm behind him now. And he turns around and goes, that's your car out there? Right? And I'm thinking Cool Hand Luke. Right? I was like, yeah, California. I'm like, yeah. You drove that all the way from California? I'm like, yeah, I'm driving. See my parents in New Orleans. I'm driving home. He goes, yeah, that's one of them. Everybody says Porsche, right? That's one of them Porsche. I'm like, yeah, Goes fast, doesn't it? I said, I don't know, Sheriff. I only do 55. You know? He goes, yeah, all right, cool. And then he goes, yeah, man. He said, oh, man, it's a beautiful car. You know, he said, yeah. What do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm an actor. He goes, oh, okay. Yeah, well, welcome to Sonora. And then he just walks out, which is, classic little town.
Yeah.
Some
Check you
strangers
out.
here, right? Check me out. And then after that, man, I would stop there all the time. And then it was like, hey, there's the actor. Hey. And, we all but had lunch every time.
Send him a
come by.
headshot.
All of a sudden, I
Put
would
it up.
stop, and then he would come in and he goes, hey, Wendell Pierce, you're back, huh?
Oh, that's great.
But, over the years,
There you
he
go.
followed the show on The Wire and everything. So
Yeah, there you go.
I should go back now,
Great friends.
And he'll be like, hey, you're on Jack Ryan now. You're a CIA officer. All right.
There you go. Show business unifies us.
Yes.
It
brings us
unifies
together.
us. It brings us all together.
We have more in common than we don't, really, actually.
I do believe that. I believe most people are good in this world and want
same thing.
peace and happiness and the same thing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Season 2 of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan is debuting Friday, November 1st, 2019. I'll be watching it. Wendell, pleasure meeting you, man.
And I'm going to be over in London because right now I'm doing Death of a Salesman on
No kidding.
the
Look
West
at you.
End. Yeah. So
What role are you playing?
Legit actor.
Willie Loman, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
First African American Willie Loman.
Really?
On a commercial level like this.
And when do we hear about Season 3 of Jack
Season
Ryan?
3, probably.
Are they in first position, sir?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you have to ask their permission for everything.
Oh, absolutely. They
That's
are
the way
first
it should be.
position.
Good.
That's where and they are premium first position. I love Amazon. I'm
Yeah, the money sucker when you hear what he's saying.
It's a never-ending flow. You just turn that spigot on and it rushes out a
it's
stream
about the
of
quality of the work.
No, it's
And the
trying to
money
do
is
this.
just an incidental.
Listen, this is my
I do
vocation.
it for free.
buying radio stations.
This is my vocation. This is the thing that I love to do.
Yes.
It happens to be my occupation, too, the thing that earns my living, but it's my vocation first. And
He's gonna buy
with
and sell
Jeff
all of us,
Bezos,
Zuckerman.
have a vision of doing quality work on Prime Video.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do. Bring you quality entertainment on Prime Video. And we share that vision.
Yeah.
Me and Mr. Bezos.
And then the valise full of cash slides across the table.
It's pillowcases, Zuckerman. Pillowcases full of
Money
cash.
bags.
Zuckerman, you got anything to say before we go?
It just was a pleasure to be here.
Same
Yeah,
here.
it was a lot of
Pleasure
fun. You
meeting
can catch
guys.
up with me on Instagram, everybody. That was Wendell Pierce. Again, check out Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, premiering November 1st, 2019 on Amazon. Wendell, nice to meet you. We'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Download new episodes every Wednesday on the Podcast One app or subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or PodcastOne.com.
All right, folks, the NFL, the college football action is continuing to heat up this week with big games on the schedule that you are not going to want to miss out on. Visit our good friends and exclusive partner at Podcast One, betonline.ag, to take advantage of the best bonuses in the business. Sign up for a free account and make sure you use that promo code Podcast1 for your 50% sign-up bonus. I was playing blackjack on it the other night. It was pretty fun. Made a little money, as a matter of fact. My picks last week propelled me to the first place, though, when it comes to football. I'm tied with a few other hosts, but guess what? Your old buddy Spike is still at the top. And this week, NFL week number 4 picks. Are you ready? Of course, we're taking the Patriots over the Bills. I think you all know why. I'm also going to take Tennessee over Atlanta. Not going to share with you the reasons for that. I might just be faking that I don't know why I'm taking Tennessee. But never mind. Tennessee over Atlanta. I'm lucky. Cleveland over Baltimore. Minnesota over Chicago. Dallas over New Orleans. So visit BetOnline.ag. And don't forget that promo code Podcast1 for your 50% sign-up bonus. BetOnline.ag, your online sportsbook experts.
When Cynthia came to TurboTax, she had just launched her new side gig, a true crime podcast.
I'm a first-rate detective with a golden voice.
As her TurboTax expert, I made her second income count by guaranteeing 100% accurate filing and her maximum refund.
What did she do with that refund? Find out next week.
Switch to Intuit TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.